Okay. Guys, we are in the business of judging books by their cover, and today we have an incredible artist with us today, Julia, also known as the Bookish Animator. Welcome to Off the Shelf.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
How are you doing?
Good. It's rainy. I don't like
sucks.
that.
And you just got back from Florida.
Which, yeah, it was a little bit of like a shock because it was so hot and so humid and so nice and sunny. And then now it's raining.
And it's May. And it's
May.
Pouring.
I'm ready for summer.
It is what it is. It's okay. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on. I guess we'll just like dive into things.
Yeah.
Walk me through how you like became someone who like animates book covers.
Well, it wasn't.
Start from the beginning.
It wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
As we know, I did not intend for this to be my full-time job. Well, okay, so January 2024. I got laid off from my animation job at a studio, which was very sad because that was my dream job. That was like the job that I'd wanted since I was a teenager. And I kind of had thought that, you know, I was going to work in animation for like a decade or like at that studio in particular for a decade because that's really where I wanted to work. And so when I got laid off, there were no animation jobs, which was really unfortunate. So I kind of was like, well, I'm going to give myself 6 months to figure out my life. And then I gave myself 6 months. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened in there. I tried like a whole bunch of different things. I was like, I could like try going back into animation. There were no jobs. Yeah. Then I was like, well, maybe I could go into like publishing or something like that. They were like, you're an animator and you want to go into publishing? I was like, this is fair. I'm very sorry for wasting your time. And then I was like, well, maybe I could like start my own business. But it was the kind of thing where I was like, I was 25.
Yeah.
And I didn't really expect to be starting over a career at 25. And I'm watching all of my friends who are like getting promoted and like, you know, doing all the things. And I was kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And so by July, that was like my 6 months.
Yeah.
And I had like tried a whole bunch of things. Nothing had really stuck. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm just going to go get a normal 9-to-5 job.
Okay.
So I posted the very first video as like this is what I'm going to do as my creative side hobby so that my creative brain doesn't go crazy when I'm working my like 9-to-5 normal job.
Yeah. Had you ever done like content before that one video? No. Okay. So this is okay.
This was like the very first thing I ever posted. And it wasn't like, I didn't think of it as like, oh, I'm going to be a content creator. I thought of it as like, I'm going to let my 200 followers know that this is my like new side project.
Yeah.
Because that's where we were at the time. It was like everybody that I knew from like university and high school, which when it blew up was like, oh gosh, people from high school are watching this. This is a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I posted that video on the GO train in to go visit my friends, not thinking anything of it. And then by the time I got home that day, the video had like something like 1,000 views. And I was like, this is insane. I have never had, and I mean, like I had 200 followers. So there wasn't 1,000 people there to view it. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. And I had gone from that morning with like 200 followers to that evening, I hit 500 followers. And I was like, we need to celebrate. So it was me and my husband, Mr. Bookish Animator.
Yes.
We go out for milkshakes. And as between the time that we like left the house to go get milkshakes and by the time that we got there ordered, I hit 700. Wow. And then we just kept watching the numbers go up. And he was like, he also did not know that I was doing this. It was like, I was like, surprise, I posted this video. He's like, oh, that's so great. I'm so proud of you for doing this side project. And then the like next morning when I woke up and I had like over 1,000 followers and it just kept going and going. And then I was like, okay, maybe this could be a job. Mm-hmm. And I really just thought like in the first month, I was like, this is going to blow over in no time. I'm going to have to go find a job. But while we're here, I may as well like do some more. And so I had been working on these book cover animations just because like, I was like, I love books. I love animation. Mm-hmm. I want to do something with both of them. And when I read, like I picture these characters as if they are real in my head. And I was like, wouldn't it be so cool if, you know, the way I picture these characters in my head as like a little movie in my head while I'm reading, would not be so cool to translate it into an animation. And I had no idea that it would go the way that it did. I still am like, this will all blow over. No. I won't have a job, you know, in a couple of weeks or something. But like,
except you're booked for the rest of the year.
Except
into 2026.
Into 2026. And booked and busy.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that people thought it was cool, and so happy that so many authors were so interested in it. And like when I started getting commissions, I was shocked, genuinely shocked that people like wanted this and wanted to use it for book releases and stuff like that. And that feels so special to me to know that authors are like, we love this. This is so cool. And to have readers be like, I've never heard of this book, especially for work that I do for indie authors.
Yeah, it's so great.
It's so cool to see so many people being like, I've gone and I've bought the book because of this animation. And that just like, it makes me feel so good.
Wow. What was the first cover that you animated on your own?
On my own. I think it was Elsie Silver's Wild Love. That was the first one that, because it had just come out and I was like, oh, I'll do some Canadian authors. So I did her, and then it was Hannah Bonham Young's Out on a Limb. And those were those were like my very first two animations, and they did like phenomenally well.
Wow.
But yeah, those were my first two.
Damn. Since then, like, what was like, I'm trying to, how do I phrase this question? Like, did you have like a, oh my God, like, Mom, I made it moment? Like, of one of your favorite authors reaching out? Like, what was like a whoa moment?
Oh, I mean, so when I posted the one for Hannah Bonham Young.
Yeah.
She sent me an incredibly kind voice memo of her just kind of crying.
When someone sends a voice memo, you're like, I immediately like you.
Yeah. I was like, and also at this point, I'd never met her.
Okay.
She had no idea who I was. But yeah, she sent me this beautiful message and this voice memo and everything. And she was so generous and kind about everything. And we're now kind of friends, which is wild. But yeah, that was one where I listened to it like probably 30 times, like over and over again. And then I like screen recorded it so that I could send it to my mom and be like, Mom, listen to the nice things this author had to say about me. And my mom loves all of this.
Wow.
And so she was so excited.
Do your parents like get content creation?
They do. The rest of my family.
Okay.
No idea what I do. I don't think.
How would they describe your job then? Just like,
so so I've coached my parents.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, you tell people that I make book trailers. It's like trailers for movies.
Smart. Okay.
But for books. And that kind of most people kind of understand that because they know what a movie trailer is.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps them. But yeah, no, like I don't think my grandparents really know what I do. Some of my aunts and uncles don't know. My cousins, like I have a lot of cousins that are like under the age of like 20. Okay. They all get what I do.
Yes,
and they are very excited.
They're obsessed with it. Even like my younger cousins, they're like, my cousin's a TikToker.
Yeah.
Yeah. They love that.
They get it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Take me through like how long does it take to do an animation for like simply a book cover?
So if I have the assets for the book cover, which sometimes I do. Sometimes if I'm like working with like the author directly, or if I'm working with the publisher, they're like, we have all the assets for you. That's much easier.
Gotcha.
However, if they just send me a static cover, I'm going in and I'm like cutting out every single piece of that cover by hand before I animate it. And that takes a while.
Yeah.
So it really depends. Basically, how I've scheduled my life is that I try and give myself a week to do any of these animations. Okay. Some of them are faster. Mm-hmm. And like I could do them in like 2 to 3 days. And then other ones, like, especially if there's like character animation in it, that takes much longer. And it's much more of like the time component is less so that it's like the actual animation part, because I'm pretty fast at animating, but it's the back and forth with an author, like, hey, here are your character designs. Are there any changes you want to make? Have I depicted them the way that you want me to depict them? And then, so it goes character designs, storyboards, and then I go into first pass of animation.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, about a week.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
When it comes to like not the cover, but just the scene itself, do you get to choose a scene, or does the author mention something, or how does that work?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
So sometimes an author is like, I have a scene that I want you to animate. I'm like, fantastic, send it to me. And then sometimes they're like, I have no idea. Can you pick? Which is like stressful for me sometimes because I'm like, oh man, I hope I pick a scene that like you like and that other people will like. But when I do get a little bit more like of a like creative, I don't know, like when I'm allowed to kind of pick, it's fun for me because I'm like, what would be fun for me to animate? So it's great. I like doing both. I will say now that I am so busy, having an author be like, I know exactly what you're going to animate is really nice because, I mean, I read all of the books that I animate generally fully. So that's also in the 1 week. Like I'm reading the book, doing all of this. So yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. How long will it like take you to finish a book? How long can you read it one in?
If I get the audiobook, I can crank up the speed on that. And like I can work while I animate.
Yeah, okay.
Like or I can read while I animate, which is great. But I can generally do one in a night.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. You stay up late. I look at your Instagram stories at like
2 a.m. Julia's still up.
That's the thing. Like I will get up at 7, like, okay, check some stories. I'm like, oh, Julia posted 5 hours ago, so 2 a.m. Like,
I'm a little insane. Okay, to be fair though, I keep thinking that this is all gonna end.
It's not though. You're booking into it like a year from now.
So I'm like, well, we gotta like keep the momentum going while it's here.
Oh my gosh. If you ever find yourself like in a creative rut or just like, what do you like, where do you find inspiration from? Like what are you doing to like pull yourself out of that or like get inspired?
I mean, like reading helps.
It does.
Hugely,
okay.
Because you're getting to live in somebody else's world for a little bit, which is really, that's inspiring. It's fun to hear other people's stories. And I am very lucky to have a lot of like really, really cool animators in my life. So I'm just like, when I'm sick of looking at my own animation, I go look at their animation. I'm like, oh, you guys are so talented and so cool. And I love your stuff so much. So that's really helpful. I do like every week I come into Toronto and I do a coffee with all of my old coworkers. And that's my recharge day.
Wow.
That's where I come in and we sit at a cafe, we sketch, we chat, we talk about everything. And that's like my day of like, I'm not doing specifically like book related work. This is just me like getting to doodle random stuff at a coffee shop with my friends.
Is that happening today?
It is. It's good. So I'm going after this.
Oh my God. Also, your outfit looks so cute today.
Thanks, Morgan. Oh my God.
What has been like your hardest animation to do? Or have you ever like ran into a situation where you're like, I actually can't animate this?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. So like, well, so the staying up till 2 a.m. Is great because I get a lot of work done. The problem is that I had this idea that you couldn't get burnt out if you were doing something that you really liked.
Okay.
And I learned that is wrong.
Right.
You can, in fact, get burnt out even doing something that you really, really love. So December of last year, Morgan, I was booking like 6 to 7 to 8 animations in a month.
Wild.
Which was 2 a week.
Yeah.
Which was not sustainable.
No.
And so I hadn't been burnt out since like university maybe. And even then it was kind of like, you know, you could sleep until noon when you were in university.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could be like, okay, you know what? I stayed up for like several nights in a row. I'm just gonna sleep in. We'll be fine.
It was much easier to like pull an all-nighter in school.
Yes.
Don't know why. Now, if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I'm not operating properly.
And that's the thing is like I haven't had 8 hours of sleep. My mom phones me sometimes and she's like, have you slept? And I'm like, today? Or like, and she's like, that's not the answer we want, Julia. We want, yes, you have slept today. So there have definitely been times where I just like, I get to my desk and I'm like, I can't, or I get to my desk, I start working and I'm like, I'm going to have to scrap this. Like
really?
It's just, I have to either walk away from my desk and go do something else, which is really hard for me because I am somebody that I'm like, I can push through. It'll be fine.
And I'm the same way.
And then it just like it progressively gets worse. And then you end up having to fix mistakes that you didn't want to fix.
Are you a perfectionist?
Of course I am, Morgan. I went into animation. Of course I am.
Okay. Gotcha. Damn. Yeah, that's tough. Oh my gosh. Is there any advice you would like give to yourself a year ago? Or like in July when this was all happening?
I think I really
maybe don't take 7 to 8.
Maybe don't take 7 to 8 a month, Julia. That would be great. I think I wish I had enjoyed it a little bit more. Like I feel like I was so truly excited about everything that was happening, but I was so like go that I didn't really enjoy it. Do you want like a like sad little tea from me? I hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I haven't opened my YouTube play button.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I have watched so many creators that have like worked so hard, and I feel like I haven't worked hard enough for it.
No, that's so untrue.
I like it's in my office. It's sitting in its box, and it has not been opened because when I got it, I was like, I haven't done enough yet. And when I have done enough yet, then I'll go and open it.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like it's just sitting there. And like I can rationally sit here and be like, that's silly. But my brain is like, nope, you haven't done enough
I will
yet.
get the same way where I'm like, just do it. But the irrational part of my brain is like, no, like I see what I'm doing to myself sometimes, and yet I still go through with it. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Why do we do that?
Because the advice you would like, what I'm trying and like what I have been told in therapy so many times is like, you wouldn't say that to a friend or a family member.
Like I would be like to you, I'd be like, you're being way too hard on yourself. You're doing so great. You're doing so much. Yeah.
But I get it. I totally get it because I have my like 1 million and I haven't opened it.
Really?
And that was probably a year ago.
Yeah.
It's sitting in the box in my office. Yeah. Wow. Granted, I don't post on YouTube that much. Like now that we have the podcast, I used to be like a little bit more of a vlogger.
Yeah.
Those days are done. But damn, you really, I know you should open it, but I'm going to tell you that you deserve it 1,000%.
Thanks, Morgan.
100,000 people clicked subscribe.
I know, but that's the thing is like, I just, it seems so unreal to me.
I know.
So
I know.
It's just like I'm so thankful and so grateful that so many people love the animations that I do. But yeah, it's weird. And I think because like we haven't even hit a year yet.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Like July, it was mid-July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Damn. Open it. What the heck?
This is turning into therapy with Morgan.
No, it really, honestly it is. No, what I was going to say about YouTube though is like, I find it, and this is the last thing I'll say, because I know you should open it. But with YouTube, like, people are choosing to, like, hit subscribe.
Yes.
And I find that, like, hitting subscribe on YouTube is so different than hitting follow on TikTok or Instagram. Yeah. Because I often forget, like, people I follow. But if I am subscribing to someone on YouTube.
It's very intentional. Yeah. Because, like, I curate my YouTube.
You're saying it yourself. You're literally saying it.
I know.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. That's okay. Take your time on opening it.
Thanks. I'll video call you. We'll open it. We'll open ours together. We can do that.
We really should. I did like mine's open. I peeked it. I got it, but it's not anywhere.
Not out.
Yeah, it's not out. Okay. And that's the thing. Like I remember like growing up and seeing all these like YouTubers open it.
Yeah, and it was such a huge moment.
It was. Yeah, but it's hard to do it with yourself. It's hard to celebrate your own wins sometimes.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Anyways, okay, let's like move into books a little bit.
Amazing.
What are like 5 books that define who you are as a reader?
Oh man.
They don't have to be like your favorite or current, but just like 5 books that define your reading tastes.
Oh boy. Okay, so I was a teen of the 2010s. So I was like a huge YA dystopian girl.
Yes.
So
wait,
like,
which ones did you read in that time then?
Okay, so I read all of the Hunger Games.
Yes.
I read all of the Divergent series.
Yes.
Do you remember like Matched? It was a green cover.
Oh, yes. I never read them.
Okay.
I couldn't get into them, but I obviously remember the covers.
Yeah. So I read all of those. The Selection series.
Okay, so I was late to the game on Selection. I read the Selection series 2 years ago.
Amazing. I'm so happy for you.
I put it off for so long because everyone described it as like The Bachelor, and I was like, I hate The Bachelor. Like, I'm not reading this. So good, though. Oh. Should have read it in that era. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they were phenomenal.
Wow. What else did I read during that time period? What else was dystopian? Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver was also like in that period.
Yep. Did you read Uglies?
No.
Well,
they just made the movie on that.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie.
I don't really want to watch it. I'm so sorry.
And that's the thing is like I love remembering very nostalgically that I loved those books at the time. Okay. And so like I missed the boat on Twilight though. I never read Twilight.
To this day you haven't read it? Whoa.
No. And so I posted a story that was like, should I go back and read it? And the consensus was don't do it. You missed the boat. Just, like be happy for your friends in the fandom, but you don't need to go back and read them. And I was like, okay,
that's
fine.
tough because, and I talked about this in like the first episode of this podcast. I read that series when I was like 12.
Yes.
My parents love it. My dad and my mom both love. My parents are massive readers.
That is so cute.
Yeah, they read it when I was coming out, like all those years ago.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I was in the 7th grade when I read it.
Yes.
And then I recently read Twilight again, probably like 4 years ago. No, not
really
the same.
See, no. And I think then I think I'm fine because like I watched all the movies and everything.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm happy to like know that people loved it as a teen.
Yeah.
And that makes me happy.
Yes.
Like
I would say like the writing is not the issue was the writing. Like it was so incredibly simple. Yeah. And just like had no depth compared to the books that we read now.
Right. So like, it doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same.
Like even like a rom-com or like a small town romance like an Elsie Silver book like has more depth than Twilight.
Okay. Fair.
So,
and that's fine. So I don't feel like I was kind of feeling, I was like, I feel so left out. I didn't like, I wasn't part of the fandom, but okay. So like I didn't read Twilight, but did you read the Inkheart series?
No.
By Cornelia Funk? Okay. So they weren't as big, but I was like obsessed with them. And that was like, that was my avenue into fanfic. That was how I got onto AO3. Was because I was reading fanfic and writing fanfic for those ones.
Really? Wait, can you say what you wrote?
No, because they don't exist anymore.
What do you mean they don't exist?
So I wrote a whole bunch on AO3.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 16, 17, I went and deleted everything that I ever wrote.
Wait, but like, can you say what characters were they like you wrote about?
Yeah, so there was... So in Inkheart, there was a character called Silvertongue. It was very fantasy.
Okay, gotcha.
So the whole premise of these books is that like it's a girl and then her dad, when he reads a book, he can bring the characters out of the book.
Oh,
it's very cool.
Fascinating.
It's like kind of book about books, and so it's about they go and find the author of this original set of books and all this kind of stuff. But like when the dad reads, a character will come out and a character go like a person from real life will go into the book. So it's we find out.
Oh, okay, I understand. Yeah.
So, anyways, I wrote very bad fanfic.
No, for that. I can't believe you deleted them.
I did, but like it was just I couldn't keep them online and have people. Like,
can you imagine them finding them now? Maybe
this is so. When everything blew up, I was like. I did delete those, right?
Oh
and I went back and I was like, let's make sure that these are gone. Because like I still write. I love writing.
Okay.
But you don't need to see what I wrote at like 12, 13.
Would you ever write your own book?
I want to.
Okay.
So this is the thing. This was one of the like, I have 6 months to like figure out my life. One of the things that I did was that I plotted out a book. And I made a secret Instagram account for my secret.
Way.
It's under a pen name and everything. But I never did anything with it.
What genre was it?
It's a mafia rom-com.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
I would love a mafia rom-com. Damn.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
we'll see. We'll see if that ever happens.
Okay.
But and that's the thing is because it's my book, I'm like, well, I can make as much fan art for myself as I want to.
Whoa. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, cool. Okay, going back.
Yes.
This is why I had the outline because I asked so many random questions now.
That's
But
good.
okay, 5 books that define you.
Okay,
you as a reader.
so all right, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Divergent.
Okay.
Because that was like my book.
Yeah.
That was my book
That
as
was.
a teen.
Did you like the other 2 though, or is it just like Divergent?
Divergent was my favorite.
Yeah.
Allegiant was the first book that actually made me throw a book across the room.
Like the ending.
Was not happy about
What
that. Anyways, so okay, let's do Divergent.
Yeah.
So there's a UK author. He has since passed away, but his name is Terry Pratchett. And my dad introduced me to those books. And so one of his books, it's from it's the Tiffany Aching series. Anyways, I loved those books. So I'm going to pick that one. Oh, The X-Files.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I love that book.
That book is so good.
So much.
I haven't read. Okay, the only I don't like Second Chance at all. But that one and Happy Place by Emily Henry are the only exceptions past that statement. Yeah. Oh my God, I love that book. That book was also so good for you're the oldest daughter, right?
Oh yeah. Yes.
That one was so good for
it felt like therapy.
That's the thing.
But but nice therapy.
Good therapy.
Like you had a good cathartic cry and you were like, wow, this makes me feel better and also examine myself in a different lens.
Yes. Yeah, it was like looking at myself in a mirror at some points. Oh, yes. I loved. Oh my God.
When we did the animation for that one, I sent a message to Jessica Joyce and I was like, I know you didn't write this for me, but it really felt targeted.
Yeah. She really hit home, I think, with that oldest daughter syndrome aspect.
And and perfectionism and wanting to be everything for everybody and all of those kinds of things. So yeah, that book, love it to this day.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so one author that I love is Anna Darcy. She was a fanfic writer and is now publishing her own books. So the Desire Variable, and she's got 2 books out. I love that book so much, and I just love her as a person. Anyways, she's great. I love her book, and then I have to do Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. That was my way back into reading.
Okay.
In I don't know, I can't remember when that book came out, but when I got laid off, I was like, I have so much free time.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read. And so I went back and I read all of the books that I had kind of missed. I felt like I missed out on.
In the early book talk days?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Gotcha.
And I started reading again. And that was that was my, right after I got laid off, literally on the way home, I went to an Indigo and I was like, I'm doing some retail therapy while my last check has just come in. I'm going to Indigo and I'm just going to buy books to make myself feel better. And that was one of the books that I bought.
Wow.
And I read it and I was like, I remember why I like reading.
That book is a little bit polarizing though, because a lot of people also don't like it.
I know.
I find it's either a 1 or a 5-star with people.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I loved it too.
Now, do you feel the same way about all of her books, or?
I haven't read any Ali Hazelwood book that I was like, I didn't like that.
Okay.
I like all of her, I have my favorites, but I don't have any book that I've read by her and I was like, I don't like that one.
The only one I've given them all either 4 or 5 stars. The only one I didn't love and I wanted to was Check and Mate. Okay. And the chess and the young adult aspect of it, I just didn't fully connect with it.
Yeah.
Loved the Love Hypothesis.
Oh,
Loved Theoretically.
Yes. That is my favorite one.
Really, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
That one, and I love Deep End, obviously. But yeah, I know, Morgan. We've talked about this. I don't agree with your opinion.
I know. I wanted to love it.
I know you did.
I couldn't finish it.
And that's fine. Not every book is for every person. That's all good. But And like I loved that one. But yeah. And I totally get the check and mate one because it was like a departure for her. Like that was a very different book than anything else that she had written to that point. So yeah, like it almost feels like, because it is a different genre.
It is, yeah, it's different.
So yeah, that one kind of, it feels very separate.
Have you read Bride?
Of course.
Did you like it?
I love Bride.
So the other one is coming out, although I don't remember, who is it about? Who is Mate about, the second book?
Her best friend, who we find out is half werewolf, and the clan leader, the other guy.
Oh my God, half werewolf. Oh,
because remember right at the end, like he's standing with like the other clan leader, and he's like staring at her, and he goes, "This is gonna be interesting."
Wait, so wait. The main girl in Bride is a vampire, though.
Yep.
And her best friend is a werewolf.
Yeah, and we don't really find out until like halfway through. Remember, because it's like right at the end when they're like being held at the vampire like house.
I definitely need to reread it before it comes out, I would say.
Yeah.
Damn, Ali Hazelwood definitely needs to write more fantasy rom-coms.
They're so good.
I thought you were going to disagree with me for a second. They're good. Yeah.
They're so good. They're so good. I'm like, Ali, just write whatever you want. Also,
yes.
I've now met her a couple of times, and I have to say, she's like the sweetest.
She seems so lovely.
I met her 3 times in one weekend. Because,
which weekend? Is it
because I was in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
So I went to a signing on 2 days. So like it was the first 2 days I saw her at different signings, and then on the third day I went to an event that she was doing with BK Borison, Lila Sage, and her.
Ooh, okay, gotcha.
It was for BK Borison's book that came out in February.
Wow, that's a stacked panel of
authors. It was a phenomenal panel. Like they were so fun. It was great. But yeah, I met her 3 times in one weekend. The first time I met her, I said nothing, Morgan. I spent 2 hours in a signing line and said nothing to this poor woman, even though she signed all of my books and she was lovely, but it was so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I had practiced what I was going to say. All went out the window as soon as I saw her.
Oh my God.
I was like, well, that was my one chance to meet Ali Hazelwood, and I totally messed it up. And then I remembered that I was going to see her twice.
So you spoke to her the second time?
Spoke to her the second time.
Gotcha.
And I had made the artwork for Deep End.
Oh, nice.
So I gave her the artwork. She was so kind about it. My friend recorded it because I was like, I'm going to black out and not remember anything that I said. So she was so lovely. And then the very next day, I flew from Atlanta to Indiana.
Okay.
And that's where I went to the BK Borison event. And she was on the panel. And I specifically put myself at the end of the line. And it was really sweet because I had met Lila Sage and obviously Ali Hazelwood before.
Yeah.
I'd never met BK Borison, but we'd like talked a lot. So I put myself at the very end of the line. And so I was like the very last person. It's like after midnight. And I like walk up and they all turned and they went, Julia. And I was like, this made me feel so good. But yeah.
Oh my gosh. Lila Sage, she's gorgeous. Oh my gosh.
Also, she's so cool.
Yeah.
And kind of like scary. But like,
really?
like somebody that's like, they're like, I'm like, you are so cool.
Oh
like,
God, yeah.
And I just like, I'm like a little bit intimidated by like how cool you are.
Now, I've never been to a book convention before.
Yeah.
How does it work? Because you've been to a bunch now.
I've been to a couple now, and I'm going to so many more the rest of the year because I don't know how to not schedule everything. I say yes to everything. This is my problem. But
you're
I'm so excited
for the memories and for the plot.
For the plot,
not?
I'm doing it for the plot.
Yeah.
No, so it depends on the kind of event. So like I've been to some where it's like you've got signings, so authors at tables, and then you've also got panels where like authors are talking about like different topics in books and stuff like that, which are really fun to hear because it's like it's cool to hear authors talk about their work and also talk about their experiences in publishing and all this kind of stuff. They were really fun to go to. So that's always fun. I will say I've like now been to a couple. I don't do great in crowds.
Me either.
Yeah. So they are a little overwhelming.
Okay.
But I will say I've gone now by myself to a couple, and I've also gone with friends. I would, like, if you're wanting to go, I would say go with a friend.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just so that, like, even if you guys are doing your own thing or like going to different authors and stuff like that, you just have somebody there that you're like, you want to like pop out for a second and just like regroup.
Yeah.
That's great.
Gotcha. Even like when I'm meeting authors who like come to here in Toronto, I freeze up talking to them because I'm like, I don't want to just say I love your books. I want to stand out.
I know.
But then I just get too nervous.
Well, and that's the other thing is like at these signing events, you're trying to be succinct so that the people behind you are not like mad at you that you're taking up so much time like gushing about these people's books that you love so much.
Yes.
And yeah, it's hard in the moment to just think of anything to say. It's like my brain goes numb and I don't remember.
And sometimes
anything.
you're like, how do you, and then they're like asking about the spelling. I'm like, Morgann, with 2 N's, make sure you put 2
Yes, they have a system down now where they write it on a sticky note.
I've only done that once, and I was like, "That's so smart. Everyone should do that."
It's so much better because otherwise, I'll forget how to spell my name. And I also I'm somebody who would like not correct you if you spelled my name wrong.
See, me either, which is why I try to get it out. I'm like 2 N's, 2 N's, 2 N's, 2 N's. Yeah, and my last name is Book.
Yeah, it is actually
what I'm holding right now. Oh my gosh, do you have a favorite author that you've met? Or just like the experience or
the very first author that I ever met in person was Becka Mack.
Oh yes, you've told me. Okay, wait, can you say the story again? Even though I've already heard this.
You've already heard this, but yeah. So I went to, it was an event with her and Hannah Bonham Young.
Yes.
And so I'm by myself at this event. And
this was the winery. Yes, for some reason, I think I must have been busy because I wanted to go so bad.
It was a really fun event. But yeah, at some point, so I had brought artwork with me because this was after I had posted the artwork for Hannah's book. Okay. So Hannah and I kind of knew each other. We had talked. But this was also, at this point, I hadn't shown my face on social media at all. So nobody knew what I looked like either. Yeah. So I came to this event. I was like, okay, I brought artwork for both of them. And I'll like give it to them. And then during the Q&A portion of their talk, somebody brought up like fan art and they were like, how do you feel about fan art? And they were kind of like, sometimes it's really good. And sometimes like, especially because both Hannah and Becka have characters that are plus sized. Sometimes some fan artists draw them all like really skinny.
That's a fair point. I never actually,
Yeah. And so like they make adjustments or like for Becca's book, the Fall With Me, the main character is like half black, and so it was like sometimes they don't get it right, and so I'm sitting there with fan art and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I got it right, but like I don't know. And like I'd never talked to Becka Mack before. Unfortunately, she was the first one in the signing line, so
Hannah couldn't like say like, hey, this is Julia who I love.
No, so I'm like at the point that I like got up to the front of the line, I was like, I'm just not going to give them the fan art. I'm just going to get them to sign my books and I'm going to go home.
Okay.
But I had written like a note on the back of the art for Becka being like, this book means so much to me,
nice. Okay.
all of this kind of thing. And so I went up to get it signed. I was like, I really love your books so much. Also, I brought some fan art, but there's a nice note on the back. So if you don't like the art, you could just read the note and that's it. And so I passed it to her with the note facing up. And so she looks the art over and she was like, oh. And then like she and Hannah are like legit friends in real life. They're so funny together. And anyway, so she like looks at the art. She like looks up at me and then she like reaches over and smacks Hannah. Hannah's talking to somebody else at this point.
They are a funny dynamic duo, the two of them.
So
like you guys
great.
are so clearly best friends. Even if you didn't speak, I feel like you would know.
I would know.
Yes.
Yeah. So she like smacks Hannah and she's like, look at this. And then Hannah like looks at the art, looks up at me and goes, oh, Julia. Oh. And I was like, hi. And then Becka was like, wait, I just watched all of your animations last night. I know exactly who I are. And then Becka started to cry. I started to cry. Hannah started to cry. And so then like everybody is in line behind me. And I'm like very cognizant of the fact that I'm like holding up the line and I'm like, it was really nice to meet you. Thank you so much. And then I like go hug Hannah. And then after that, I got a message from Becka being like, it means so much to me. Thank you so much for making this artwork and everything. But yeah, it was so funny because that was like very much that's how all of my interactions go with authors, where I hand them art where I'm just like, I really hope you like it, but if you don't, that's totally fine. And I'm really sorry.
But you bring art with you now, like even in general, right?
Just because I don't know. I like giving out art. I was the art kid in school. So I was like, if, you know, your friend's like, hey, can you draw this character that I really like? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I feel like that's still a little bit in me where I'm just like, yeah, do you want some art? And like, I've gotten a little bit better at doing it because I would go to events and I'd have stuff with me and I'd be like too shy to like say anything to anybody. But now I'm getting a little bit better at being like, hey, I drew some fan art of these characters. Do you want some fan art?
Yeah.
And then generally people say yes.
I get so shy sometimes. Like, I'm just like, but the rational part of my brain is like, just go walk over and say hi, you idiot. Like, but I'm just like, oh my God.
And that's the thing. I haven't had a bad interaction with anyone. Everyone has always been so kind, so sweet, so like complimentary about everything. And like even authors, like I haven't met an author that I like had a bad experience with yet. Like, and everybody that I've met has been so nice.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know why my brain is like, no, they will hate it.
I'm like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. They'll just like walk away.
Yeah.
And I'll think about the interaction for the rest of my life. But
do you get recognized when you go out, like at events and stuff?
A little bit more and more.
How do you feel internally?
It's weird. I never know what to say.
Yeah, I know. I run into that too sometimes.
Yeah, and it's very much like I'm at a book event, and I'm like people will come up and be like, "Are you?" My favorite is people come up and like, "Are you an animated cartoon online?" And I'm like, I am. Yeah, I am. Which is very sweet. I love getting recognized that way.
Yeah.
But the other thing is too, like I don't, other than on my stories, I don't really show my face online. So I often get like people like kind of like looking at me and I'm like, are they gonna come up and say something? Or am I like, is there like something on my face? Or like, are they trying to figure out who I am? So yeah, it's a little, it's wonderful. I love when people come up and say hi. And I have gotten a couple messages where people are like, I wanted to come and say hi, and then I didn't. And I'm like, you should have. I would love that. Please come say hi.
I will get that. Like sometimes I'll be at like the mall and then I'll get a DM that night like, oh, I was like, please tell me I like looked nice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like when I'm walking through the mall, I'm just like,
oh, yeah. Well, and especially when you're in like downtown Toronto, I put on like my please don't talk to me face. And I feel like I totally blank people too. And I don't want to do that. I did have, when I was in Florida this weekend, I had somebody come up to me and I was just like, I was in a corner kind of just like being like, okay, I've done it. And somebody came up and they were like, I'm so sorry. I just like interrupted you having like a calm down moment. I'm like, no, it's good. Actually, you're stopping a thought spiral right now. It's really great that you came up and said hi.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, like so when I'm in like public places and like someone will, I'm like, I just hope I'm like, honestly, come up and say hi because my resting bitch face will immediately dissolve and be like, oh my God, like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Or like, I love at the bookstore. I love meeting people.
Me
just like,
too.
What are you buying? What can I recommend you?
Yes.
But then I'm like, I start to overthink it. Like I met some girl in Indigo the other day and she was like, so like, what should I buy? And then I had all this, I'm like, what do you like? I had all this pressure.
Yes.
So she was like, okay, I'm going to buy it. And I'm like, okay.
I hope you like it. Please DM me and tell me that you liked it.
I recommended her Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, which I was like, this is a sure thing.
I feel like you did good.
Yeah. Have you read Abby Jimenez's books? Yes. Okay. Yes,
I have. I saw you had her on the pod. I was like, oh man.
Oh my God, she was so lovely. Yeah. And even hearing her like talk about her husband, I was just like, no wonder you have like you're crafting these incredible love stories. Yeah. Was like your perfect combination of tropes in a book. If you hit like these 3 or 4, like the book is gonna be 5 stars.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, so in fantasy, I need a there's only one bed in the inn. I need a like I need an enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
And like I feel like Who Did This to You is really good in fantasy. It's also really good in mafia, like kind of ones. Like those are so good. I love a like hurt comfort.
Okay.
Somebody's injured, somebody's sick. Maybe this is like my oldest daughter thing, being like, I just want to take care of people.
I like the hurt healing one.
Yeah.
Because it's sometimes like they're like wrapping it in hate. They're wrapping it, and I'm just like, yes! Yeah.
I'm so annoyed that you got injured, but also like I'm so worried about you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. The last thing we'll end on, and then I didn't know you read Mafia novels. What's your favorite?
Okay. I love. Well, okay, so the one that I'm really excited about is Nevessa Allen's Caught Up that's coming out, which is Mafia.
That's Mafia?
Yeah, I think so.
It is?
Yeah, because the guy is Mafia.
This is the second one to Lights Out. Mm-hmm. I had no idea it was Mafia.
Yeah.
Wait, that's going to be so good.
Oh, I am so excited for that one.
Okay.
I love that one. And like, so I just kind of started into like... Neva Altai. Have you read her?
I know the author's name. I read a lot of Mafia, but I think I have.
If you saw what is it? Silent Whispers, something like that.
Yeah.
Is like the first one in her book.
Okay.
They are so good. I think she has one more in that series coming out soon, or it has come out. I'm not sure. Anyways, those are my favorites. I love them.
Damn. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Last
thing. What is like one book you'd recommend to everyone listening to this episode right now?
Oh,
I know you have to, it's hard to choose one.
I have to pick one?
Yeah.
Oh man. Maybe read Anna Darcy. Darcy.
Yeah, I haven't read any of her books yet.
Yeah. Passion Parameter is her second one that just came out. It is so good. It's like it's for the STEM girlies, perfectionist daughters.
Nice. Okay.
It's so good. And so like the MMC is like very much like boy obsessed. He is obsessed, and he's her boss.
Nice. Okay.
They're coders. It's so good. It's so good.
Ooh. Okay.
And it's spicy.
It is. Okay. Okay, so I have to read that. I have to read Caught Up. I have an arc of it, and I didn't know it was Mafia, so I delayed it a little bit.
Morgann.
I know, but it comes out next week anyways, does
I know.
It not?
Yes. And you know what else
I'm
comes
read
out
it this
next
weekend.
week?
What?
Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood.
What? She has a new one coming out?
Morgann!
I know, I'm really behind.
You got it. It's gonna be so good.
Okay, so that, the Anna Darcy one, Caught Up, the new Ali Hazelwood.
Yes.
The other Mafia romance author. I can see the author's name in my head. I just don't know how to pronounce it right now.
Yes.
And then that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I have to read.
Gotta go read those.
Thank you so much for coming on and
so
chatting.
much for having
Good
me.
luck on all of the commission work
Thank
that
you.
you have this year. That's actually incredible.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. And open up the YouTube plaque.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go home and open up the YouTube plaque.
The next time you come on the podcast, I would like the plaque to be open.
I will have it up on a wall.
On a shelf on a wall somewhere. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great.
That's
Amazing.
my homework.
Thank you guys so much for listening to Off the Shelf, and we will see you next Thursday.